in. So this will be video 6, day 3, basically the Biden Hur interview, a transcript and audio. Axios, thankfully, finally got that, which we should have already had these available for us. And if you'll notice, they did take out a lot of the uhs and ums, because, I mean, I do that too. I mean, sometimes it's just a filler word, and some people, that's just the way they talk. And I use anyway a lot. I'm sorry. So does Joe Biden. Oh, I'm like, what the heck? Anyway, whatever you think of the man, I just, ugh. Anyway, I'm just going to leave it there. I'm not going to say anything ill of him, but I don't think he was a good president. But that's my opinion. I'm entitled to that. Other people will say the same thing about Trump, but we'll get going here. Let me get my timer started. I want to see if we can finish this up. It's about 40 pages. Some of this is going pretty fast. We'll see. I may set the timer for 30 minutes and see what we can get done, because we're at 2 hours, 30 minutes, and 14 seconds. And then we're also on page 119 here. So let me start this. Give it a second to get started. I set my timer.
Talking about the photographs behind tab 5.
Where is that here?
And so these are base label 2023-0120_ALH_62, then 74, then 66, then 76, then DSC_004, DSC_005. So that's the first photo in this tab section. Is this the room you were talking about earlier with the?
Yeah. And it comes down and covers the whole fireplace. That's why it says.
Is this the room that you, I believe you mentioned you were running a lot of campaign operations out of?
Yes.
Okay.
And outside, you'll remember this. We had big, thick, clear plastic that would come down so the rain couldn't come through. And you could pull up in the sun. There were places so there were television cameras, there were podiums, there were lighting systems, etc. If I were going to do something, then that's where I was doing speeches from. I tried to do interviews with the press from, because it was during the pandemic.
Understood. Okay. So if we look at the last 2 photos in this section, and DSC_0004 and 0005, one of the pieces of furniture we see in a little shook is this couch, is a 2-drawer cabinet.
Yep.
So is this the same cabinet that you were?
My guess is the same one. There's another one exactly like it.
Okay.
In the other corner over here, if you look at 004, go to the corner, you see a golf club.
Yes.
Well, there's a nook back in there, and there's another one of these cabinets there as well.
Okay.
Identical fire.
Okay.
It looks at that.
So let's focus on the file cabinet that's in the
05.
if we're looking at 05.
Yep.
Let's focus on that one. So that one may be the same file cabinet that came from Cambridge, that was previously in Cambridge. Is that right?
That's my guess.
Okay.
Either that one or the one that's in the other corner.
Okay. So if the one that we're looking at in 0005 is not the one that was in Cambridge Road, then where was it?
It was probably, I don't know where it was. Maybe it's on the first floor. I don't know. Could have been somewhere else in Chambers Road. I don't know.
It sounds like the 2 cabinets that look alike, were they both at Chambers Road?
I don't remember. My guess is they probably were, but I don't know.
Were they bought together as a matching set?
I don't know.
All right. So then back to the cabinet in 5. So when this was moved in, who picked that spot for it in this room?
I probably did. I probably told where I didn't, not when it was being moved, but I'm kind of fastidious about where things go, so I probably said, put those file cabinets in these two places.
And once it was placed there in this room in the lake house, whose files were in this cabinet?
Mine.
Exclusively?
Yeah.
Okay, and what kinds of files were kept there?
I don't recall. It could be everything from family photographs to, I don't know. Anything.
Were you in and out of this cabinet?
Not very often, no.
But was anyone else in and out of the cabinet?
Not that I'm aware of.
So if we go to tab 6, there's photographs of the materials inside this cabinet. So the first photo, 2023-0120_FBI_0039. This shows the interior of the top.
Yep.
So,
See those empty files?
yes.
Very well made. I put those files in there with the papers cleaning off the pool table that people drop stuff on, or the conference table. So I could have put those in there.
If you take a look at I know it's a little bit hard to see, but if you can make out the file folders, the titles that come into those, do they look familiar to you?
No, can you read? I can't read them. Can anybody else read what they are?
Maybe tomorrow we can pull them on a laptop, but for now, and then if we go to the next photos of this tab, 40, that's a photograph of the interior of the bottom.
Yep.
Cabinet. And you see the binder on the right side, 2017.
Yep. Invitation. Yep.
So if we go further on in the photographs of this section, there's a couple photographs, DSC_001.
Yep.
And there's a finger pointing at the right side of the bottom drawer.
Yep.
And then DSC_002, you'll see a spiral bound black cover notebook there with the label 1612 number 2 foreign policy.
Yep.
Okay. And then underneath that, there's another one that's shown FBI_006. That's labeled daily 12, 15, 15, 2016, 2017, 2018.
Yeah. See it.
Okay. So these notebooks, did you place these notebooks here in this particular drawer of this cabinet?
I don't recall. I could have, but I don't recall whether it placed when the cabinet was there, came that way. I don't recall.
So one thing that we see in these photographs in the bottom drawer.
Which photograph do you want?
Let's look at ending in 0040. There's a few back.
Oh, yeah, got it.
So
Yeah, that's a wait. No, let's give us 1 second.
Sure.
We're just moving to the right location.
Okay.
okay. So one thing that hits the eye is on the left side, it's a bunch of hanging file folders.
Yep.
And on the right side, it's materials that are stacked. They're not in hanging file folders. Do you recall why that was the case?
I'm sorry, your question, Rob. I apologize.
Yes.
I couldn't hear it
Do
clearly.
you recall why that was the case? So on the right side was.
There's no hanging folders.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you, sir.
Because there were no hanging folders, I guess. I
Okay.
don't have any idea.
Were there ever were there ever any file folders on the right side of that?
I don't have the slightest idea in the world. I would be surprised if there were, would be surprised if there weren't. I don't know. I don't know.
So
My guess is, you see those folders, they're not even all hanging. You see the rod which they're supposed to hang on? It's not in place, right? They're only hanging on the left, they can't be moved up and down. You take a look at it.
okay,
So the idea that there was, all that says to me is, this thing was like when it was moved, it was moved. I mean, you know, you put these skinny steel pieces down and hook the file on. You see the skinny steel pieces in the wrong place. It goes where it's supposed to be all the way to the right, because there's various forms of files. You can have long files and short files.
yes.
So anyway, I don't know.
Yeah, we see a little bit of a better shot of it in a couple pages later, DSC_2. FBI 106. I see, are those the steel rails that you're talking about?
Yeah.
Okay. So in this same photo ending in 0002, there's that foreign policy notebook.
Yep.
And then another one underneath it.
Yep.
So these notebooks are in a different place than the notebooks that were in your formal library.
It says to me, just get them out of the way.
I'm sorry, so say again?
I mean, there's no rhyme or reason to it. It's just getting them out of the way. They were sitting on the table, it's like somebody or I or somebody took them and dropped them in there.
I see.
I mean, it's not like, I mean, there's no, anyway. The answers, I don't know.
Oh, okay, if we go another couple photos forward, ending in 67 and ending in 68.
Yeah.
Do you see certain file folders here with your handwriting on them? Did you write any of these titles on these file folders?
So it looks like.
Can you make them really sure would be helpful
Yeah,
if they're
like-
magnified?
Like Jeremy Facebook, that doesn't look like my writing. For VP review, it doesn't look like my writing. Look, UD policy documents. Obama, what's that say? Iraq and Syria. He's not right, I don't think so.
So there were a number of, and just there are further closer in shots there on the tab. 69, 70.
Gmail back. Anyway.
Okay. There are, we go back to ending in 0068. There are a number of folders that you can, some you can see, some you can't see. But there are a number of empty folders in here.
Yep.
For example, JRB Gmail backup codes is empty. And there are a number of other folders that are just empty. Do you recall, were there some folders in here that the contents were removed and placed somewhere else? What do you know about that?
I have no idea. I see MT banking. Looks like it could be me. flower. Rack, political, empty files. This looks like this Jeremy Facebook. I don't think I did that one because Facebook.
So putting
I'm not very smart guy.
So putting the handwriting on one side, when you take a look at the labels of these file folders, what's in this file cabinet?
Everything that was left on the table somewhere. I mean, there's no rhyme or reason to what's in this file cabinet. University of Delaware, Facebook, code, Syria, just anything that was University of Delaware, called Mark C. Mark Monitor, assume that is. Biden cancer. Biden Foundation. Bank. Energy Bank. Say, can you see? Anyway, I don't think there's any rhyme or reason. They're clearly not based on subject matter. They're all over the board. So my guess is these are just things that we decided not to throw away, or I said they were just miscellaneous stuff that was lying around that could put in the drawer.
Well,
Let's see, domestic policy.
if we can flip to one particular photo in here, it's towards the beginning.
So what number is that?
It is the fourth one, and it ends in 0003. It's of the black spiral bound like snot.
Yeah, okay.
DSC underscore 0002. So if you can see towards the right side of that notebook there, that's labeled 1612 number 2 foreign policy, there's a document sort of standing out to the right side.
Yeah.
So there's a document that's tucked into that particular notebook. So what do you recall about
I don't recall a single thing, except that I can imagine there's times when I'd be in a meeting, whatever this was about, foreign policy, and I'd have something. Okay, the meeting's over, I stick in the book. Staff doesn't know I put it in the book. They're coming in, but if they did anything at the time, they took that whole book, put it in a drawer on my desk, get out of the way, and never went in the book to see what was in there, what the edge was. One thing I can think of.
Okay. And I will represent to you that document that we can see the right edge that's sticking out from the notebook, that is a marked classified document.
Marked classified.
Yes, sir.
Little tiny print.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know how.
Oh, no, because it matters. It matters in terms of how important they think it is. If you got classified written in that really, oh, anyway.
Can I just ask a clarification? Are you representing that all of the documents in the notebook
I'm sorry, the documents
include classified? They're not all classified.
Yes.
Correct. Thank you.
So if it got put in with other stuff, I could see that them, meaning the staff, not going through putting away my book, wherever it was, time, open it up and look it through and pull them out, whatever's in it.
Mr. President, did your staff go through your notebooks, the ones that were taking handwritten notes
I
in?
don't think so.
Okay. Okay.
And following up on that, would your staff?
You gotta check them, but I don't remember.
Right.
And would your staff be scooping up things from the table and placing them in drawers, or was that something that you
In a way, if I hadn't already done it, they'd do it at the end of the day. They'd clear the desk, put it in drawers. I mean, for example, I have a briefcase, I know it's here, but I have books in it that have material that I've written, not classified, that I'm aware of, that even where it's mine, you know, my private notes. And then they'll take it out if they're emptying the bag for me. And if I empty the bag and I'm doing it on the desk, I'm looking at it and I move to something else, they'll take that and they'll put it in one of the drawers. In my office, I have drawers, and you open those doors in that old resolute desk, and I have climate, foreign policy, domestic policy, Israel, if now, and they'd open up and flip it in that drawer.
For precedent, I was just like, clear on the record. For precedence,
No,
yes.
no, I agree, but it would be a not dissimilar thing when I wasn't, wherever I had put stuff that was, you know, we're working on.
When you were vice president.
But even when I was, if I had, I kept speeches and notebooks when I was running for president. And they, you know, this virtually the same people who were in my Senate office, my vice president's office, and my office when I was in office, and when I was running and as president. There's a continuum of a lot of these people.
Okay, so I think we're done with those particular photos.
Okay.
And my plan would be to go on to another location within the lake house, the garage. Those photos are next tab.
That's the one I'm interested in.
So we'll keep going until you tell us.
You're good
Great,
with
as
the
far as-
sir?
Yeah, we're going to continue.
Okay.
So if we look at the photos behind test 7, there's just a couple of them. 2022 12.1 underscore ERT underscore 005 and 009. So these photographs were taken in as base number indicates in December of 2022. So do you recognize this garage?
Yeah, I do.
The lake house? Okay.
And by the way, this is a second tranche of stuff that came to this garage. Because there was stuff when they emptied Penn office, and they emptied what else? Chambers Road. There was a lot of stuff they gathered up, and they just took up and dropped in my driveway like this. And some of the little skinny boxes, some open boxes, some, but just piled everything up. I remember walking in one day, the garbage is out to the left here. You come out, and this door here, where there's a door leaning against it. That door is a, for example, these fans.
The ceiling fans, sir?
The ceiling fans. They're and so it's when they started to, because of the, you know, the changes they're making. And so they just took in and piled all this stuff there. These cushions were from the furniture that was on that. They piled it up there. That podium, and you can see this other stuff is lighting like you see on television. That stuff was from the time that we were doing the campaigns. I've been out there for a while, so there's a lot of, and this stuff is the these, I mean, for example, there's, when they took down all the stuff from, that we had in the home and the chambers room, like, I think one of these is a mirror, a full-length mirror, I'm not sure, you know, it's the one you're looking at here.
Are you talking about the box and the rocking chair?
Yeah, this, I'm looking at 20, okay, same thing.
Yeah, 89.
It is 9, yeah. I think that has a mirror, I'm not certain of that. These other things are fillers for the, having nothing to do with being brought from anywhere. Fillers for the heating system. You know, you pull out, you know, those boxes.
And which boxes are those, sir?
I think if you look over top of the big box, you see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all of the same size.
Yeah.
I think they are the filters for the heating system.
And are we looking at the photo base number ending at 9?
Yes.
Okay, I'm using the treadmill sort of as an anchor for the eye. Where relative to the treadmill are you looking?
I'm looking, if you walk in.
Yes.
You see those? I think that's what that stuff is. There could be photographs that were boxed. I'm not sure.
The white things at the edge behind the rocking chair?
Yeah.
Oh, sort of peering through the rockings of the spindles of the rocking back of the rocking chair.
Yeah.
I see. So when you, I guess, just looking at those boxes as a group, and I think you characterize this as the second tranche. Where's the? Well, maybe we start. What's in the second tranche? What is?
I have no idea, goddamn idea. I didn't bother to go through.
Okay. Do you know when this pile of this tranche of boxes arrived in the garage?
No, because I've been out, and now it could be building material what they're doing now. This is
2021.
2022.
2022.
December of
Yes,
December
it's
2022, much later, yeah.
It could be, this is. You ever seen a picture of the house?
I don't think I've seen it.
Well, no, whether you saw it or not, if you saw the picture, you understand what they did. And because it is on the, it is, and
It's a long explanation.
that kind of stuff. And then the whole back of the house, the stucco. And they, anyway, I went through, and in the meantime, I had work done, I don't know how long ago now, a couple of years ago. I'd forgotten I'd been in the goddamn house since how long I'd been in the house. And anyway, so there's a lot of stuff that was going on. And this is all what I had down here too, or golf clubs. And, now, is this 2022 as well?
Which photos are you looking at?
I'm on 0024, ERT 0024.
Like tab 9.
And time.
Oh, tab 9. These are also, yes, these are also December 2022. So that's great. I was actually going to go to tab 9 right now. So if you look at ending in 24, this is the same, photos were taken the same day as the ones where we were looking at in test set. But the photographer has now walked into the garage and rounded the corner behind this huge pile of boxes and is taking a photograph there. And you see in the center of the shot, there's a little hang tag that says 1 on it.
Yeah.
If you go to the next photo, which is ending in ERT5, there's an even closer shot of that box. It's a little ripped up. It's got that hanging tag 1 on it. So, what do you know about this box? What's in it? How it got there? And when it got there?
I guess it got, I don't know.
Oh, no, hold on.
Are you ready to?
I'm just going,
I see.
Yeah, so you'll see more photos behind that one. So the box in 25 is 26. That's the box that was actually seen and found on in December of last year. So it's pretty beat up and torn at the corners. So then when the agents recovered the materials, the box wasn't gonna hold up, it wasn't structurally sound. So they put the stuff from the beat up box into the new box, and that's what's shown in TSC _003. So it's the same stuff, just a more structurally sound box.
okay. Yeah, okay.
Okay. And so some of them, for example, ending in DSC _4, they zoom in and see some of the links a little bit more sharply. Yeah, so there's one of the things that you can see is the Bow, Iowa binder. The white one next to it says income and expenses.
Yeah. That's the one I'm trying to get squared away.
And, for example, you can see a manila folder that looks like it says National Constitution Center on it in the middle of the shot. Washington Speakers Bureau up in front of it. So do you for example, do you recognize the Bow, Iowa binder? Do you recognize the?
Yeah, I mean, I've seen it before.
Okay.
I think it was, why what was it about?
But do you remember how these materials got into this box, and how that box got into the garage?
No, I don't remember how it got, I don't remember how the beat up box got in the garage.
Okay. And do you remember how things like the Bow, Iowa binder got into it?
No, somebody must have packing this up, just picked up all this stuff, and put it in a box. So
Do you have any idea where this material would have been before it got moved into the garage?
well, if it was 2013. When did I stop being vice president? 2017. So I was vice president. So it must have come from vice president stuff. What I think of.
So it does have some material in here that relate to your activities post vice presidency, like the Washington Speakers Bureau material. And there's also material in here that relates to the book Promise Me Dad with Mark Warner. So there's some that dates.
See, that's what makes me think, just people gathered up whatever they found whenever the last thing was being moved. So the stuff moving out of vice president's residence, end of the day, whatever they found, they didn't separate it out. Speakers Bureau and pen or whatever the hell it is, or bow, they just put it in a single box. That's the only thing I can think of.
So given the subjects that these files address, well, these are the things that were at the Naval Observatory, they've been at Chambers Road, but before they got here.
Well, they were clearly somewhere before they got there, so.
Yes.
I know but my guess is that they, based on the dates, they were vice presidential material initially. They got put in the box and probably got sent either to Penn Center or to Chambers Road, or for some reason got sent up to Wilmington. But I don't think they didn't get to Wilmington until 2022 or something, right? Or whatever, I don't know.
But to be clear, your question is whether he knows.
Correct.
Has a clear recollection of how they
No, I have
got
no
it.
idea.
Okay, I want to make sure it's clear.
But it's also helpful if he has thoughts as to
Well,
how.
I'd like to stay with his recollection and not put him in a position where he has to speculate or create assumptions or try to engage in detective work.
Understood. So looking at, continuing to look at the contents of this box in the garage, and I'm looking at DSC underscore 0004. Let's make sure we're looking at this.
Oh, we're not in the same place.
Oh, sorry.
No problem.
Indian,
We'll figure it out.
so tab 9. 3 in from the back.
And what's the number again on the end?
DSC underscore 0004. Yep, this is the one where you can see the OI binder, the income expenses binder. So when we look at the stuff that was in this particular box in the garage, and we compare it to the other things that were in the garage on that day, this is the only box that has file folders in it. So it's a little bit, it's unusual, it's different from everything else that was in the garage. And so, on that day, yes, sir. So, but when we look at it, it does seem to resemble, in appearance, the materials that were in the file cabinet in the day. So, looking at tab 6.
Just when you have a little bit of tab 6, so the cabinets behind the pool table is understand.
Well, fine, or next to the leather couch.
The next one is always next to the leather couch, okay.
So just going back and forth, there's blue hanging file folders, there's some red vanilla folders, there's yellow vanilla folders, both in the garage box and in the lower drawer of the cabinet in the pool table. So it looks to us, what happened was the materials that were in the box in the the materials that were in the beat up box in the garage at some point were in the cabinet in the pool table. They got put in a beat up box and shoved out in the garage.
Just for my sake, well, how do you, I just really,
Yes.
These are file folders, right? People buy file folders, so why do you assume that that's the trajectory?
I'm not assuming, I'm saying that it just.
You said it looks to us like this.
From physical appearance. So
Maybe if there's a question about it.
Let me ask you a question. You're saying you think that what I'm looking at FBI 0039 was picked up, put in a box and stuck out in the garage?
not quite. I guess what I'm asking is, was what we're looking at tab 9, 3 photos in. DRT underscore 0026.
00.
0026. So the meetup box photo.
Wait, sorry. We need a minute here, because we're not in the right spot.
Okay.
That's 0026, okay.
Yes. ERT_0026. So that's the stuff as it was found in the meetup box in the garage. Okay. So was that material previously in the file cabinet that was in the pool table room? It showed FBI_0040.
What do you mean, on the floor of the garage, they took it off the garage and put it in the file cabinet? Why would you put it out?
Well,
Throw it away?
maybe I framed this question. What we were trying to do is try to figure out where was this stuff in the garage before it was in the garage.
In my understanding, just to be clear, because I really don't want to be unhelpful, I want to be helpful, is I thought, unless I misunderstood, his answer earlier was he doesn't know how
He
it's
doesn't.
happened.
And my
And
thought,
I'm worried that he's not to start sort of analyzing speculative assumptions or speculative assertions, which I don't think is appropriate.
sure. Well, let me get the question out, because I sort of framed it kind of clunkily here. So, given the fact that the materials in garage box 1 are different from everything else in the garage, and that they're in hanging file folders, and given their physical, there are some similarities between their appearance and the stuff that's in the file cabinet in the pool table. Are we wrong to think that maybe the stuff in the garage was formerly in the file cabinet?
No more than you think you're wrong, if it's the opposite. The stuff that was in the file cabinet was in the garage.
I see.
In other words, I don't have any idea.
Yeah, I think we're kind of going down a trail here that I find confusing. Frankly, I just, his recollection is his recollection, he doesn't know how it got
No,
there.
I don't have any idea.
Well, that's the answer, I think.
I don't know, it's just, I used to teach logic, I don't get even the assertion, but anyway, it doesn't matter.
But it is what it is.
Okay. So,
Any other questions on the garage before this?
yeah, I want to get the rest of it cleared out.
Ongoing problem. Should we break?
Well, let's keep going.
Okay, the next subject is probably 45 minutes, and then get some additional binders, so,
Sorry, Mark, could you repeat that?
yeah, we're gonna need to get some additional binders for the next subject, so.
Are they offsite or
So
onsite?
they're here, it's gonna take a couple minutes to
Oh, okay.
pull them out of the sun.
So we'll reconvene in 5 minutes?
Sure. So I do need to use the restroom.
Yeah,
Yes.
I might use it.
You want these items?
Keep those out.
Yeah, we might flip back to.
The date is October 9th, 2023. The time is approximately 12:12 p.m. And this.
Okay, so I screwed that up. I have to fix that. But anyway, that's the end of that recording for day 1 of the October 8th, 2023 interview. I think it was 2023. Yeah. Joe Biden and Robert Hur. But anyway, I'll talk to y'all a little bit later. I'll get these loaded up and we'll keep going. Finish this off. Anyway, see y'all. Bye.